Sebastien recently moved into a new apartment. He considers himself lucky he found a good fit after moving out of his previous place 3 months ago.
Some of the pros are that it's a new apartment building, it's a new apartment complex, so there's new amenities, there's a nice gym upstairs, there's a pool.
How much does it cost?
This is a bit pricey. That would be one of the cons. It is $1,400 per month.
According to Mohammed from the Park Extension Action Committee, also known as CAPE, you either pay more for rent or you end up paying in other ways.
For a tenant, there are two ways to live. Either live in a nice apartment with high rents, and if you're lucky enough to find an apartment with a cheaper rent, it's probably because that building is not, the landlord is negligent. And that's one way you keep it affordable.
Sebastien's last apartment was roughly half the price.
Because it was a lot cheaper, it was a worse place. It was an older place that had been run through, like the stove that we had while we were moving in was not working. The kitchen was absolutely disgusting. The lamps, the chandelier full of bugs.
Many tenants are being taken advantage of and have no choice but to deal with poor living conditions. This is why organizations like CAPE formed to give tenants the legal and community support they need.
It's no secret that in Quebec we're going through a housing crisis. The rent's going up, the occupancy rate is very low. People who are living in places where rent has been low for a while they're being evicted out of their places.
On June 22nd, protests broke out against proposed law Bill 31, which would end lease transfers in Montreal. CAPE led the protest, which became the biggest of this type in Quebec history, with around 4,000 protesters present.
And the biggest loss was the end of lease transfer. Instead of ending your lease, you give your lease to someone else.
The housing crisis also caused an increase in homelessness.
Some homeless people would just stay in that little room, and they would, I guess, shoot up or do whatever types of drugs they're doing, and we would find the remnants, some needles, and there was like spoons and lighters everywhere.
A lot of people who are homeless currently are people who are definitely can't afford the market rate. So if you can't afford, where do you go? And if there's no social housing, where do you go?
According to CAPE, activism by them and others has forced the government to reconsider Bill 31. Hopefully, this type of activism will continue to help protect the housing rights of all those across Montreal. For Concordia News, I'm Jesse Crow.